welcome to this week of Pastor's Roundtable. We're so very glad that you're here. Apparently, the sermon had a lot of levels of clarity in it because there's only one question, and it doesn't even have to do with the sermon. It has to do with the prayers. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I am hoping you can clarify the prayer after the reading. It mentioned worry as a sin. What exactly does that mean? A certain type of worry? It would seem everyone has worries, even when they trust and find comfort in Jesus. Also, what does this mean for those with anxiety or panic disorders? These people can't control having worries due to chemical imbalances and would deal with a great amount of guilt and shame if something outside their control would be a sin. All right, so I have to be honest, I even looked through the planners. I couldn't find the prayer that what this was referring to, but it may have been something that was alluded to that was felt very deeply that led to like a big question, like you hear something and then it causes you to wonder what's going on, and so let's talk about it. First off, worry is not a sin. It is something that we're commanded not to do by Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount when he says, do not worry, for who by worrying can add a single hour to their life, and who by worrying can make one hair white or black. Jesus commands us not to worry because what he wants us to do is to not have something in our life that can cause our trust in God to waver or wane. And so the command not to worry is not because you're committing some egregious mortal sin. It's because you might be in worry, straying from your trust in God. That doesn't mean that everybody who worries doesn't trust God. There's people who trust in God, but they still worry. And what I compare that to is either the annoyance of an insect or even something as severe as an interruption in life, like a car wreck or something like that. Nobody plans on a car wreck. But when it happens, it derails you from your moment. Nobody plans on worry, but when it happens, it derails you from your moment. Just because there's bugs flying around doesn't mean that you're not a person anymore. Just there's something that's distracting you. And worry can be just as bothersome and annoying. It can distract you. The important thing to take away from this is that if you're worrying, the cure for that, the way to press into that is to say, yes, I do have worry, but I trust in my Jesus. And though I can't explain it and things seem out of my control, he's in control. And his lordship and his reign and his presence with me helps me to have at least a sense of reality, even as I'm being distracted or worried. People with panic and anxiety disorders are experiencing a level of brokenness that happens in this world. Remember, all sin is brokenness, and some of that happens to us, and some of that is things that we do. And so if somebody has an anxiety or panic disorder, what I would consider is, maybe getting some help with it. Praying and reading scripture is good, but that together with seeking help from a professional can help you to find ways where you can get anchored, you can be grounded, you can be centered in your reality, not in an Eastern kind of mysticism sense, but in a sense of, wellness and a sense of security. Always remember that if you do have an anxiety or a panic disorder, to use those coping mechanisms that you have together with just a healthy dose of trusting in Jesus and praying and reading his word. No, it's not a cure-all, but it's a thing that'll get you through. That's what helps. So just know that here at church, we don't think that worrying is a sin, and we take things like brokenness very seriously. I hope the content of the message on Sunday could have granted some help, knowing that because Christ is at the right hand of God, he's at the power of God, that he can even be present with you in that. And that's a powerful comfort to know that you're not alone. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pastor?
I think you covered it as well as you can. It's hard to know exactly what the context was for the question and all, but I think the way you covered it kind of helps to put a framework around that whole issue and how to deal with it. So,
all right.
You were bringing up the presence of Christ. One of the things that came to mind too regarding your message that he's everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's with us.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, including Christians, confuse that with like the New Age movement.
That's gross.
That believes that all is divine.
Pantheism and all that.
Pantheism, that you are divine. You just need to find that divinity within yourself. And And so it's like all of creation, everything's divine. That's different from what you were talking about.
Absolutely.
So how would you separate those two out?
Well, the first thing is we're talking about the right hand of God, God in his personhood. So we're talking about specifically God, not talking about us, and we're not talking about creation. We are talking about Jesus specifically being present everywhere, not
some
impersonal force. Yeah, exactly, like that.
Hey, we said it at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
Cool.
Yeah, we did. And then I think what this is relating to really is can Jesus be locally present everywhere and yet still in heaven at the same time? That's a really big difference. When we say that Jesus is everywhere, we don't just mean as like some ambiguous spiritual force. He is the Jesus in his divine personhood together with his human person locally present. So Jesus is present everywhere, and yet he can choose to be locally present. There's a controversy about this back in the 16th century, which I know is really going to be exciting. But in the 16th century, there was like a lot of confusion about how can Christ be present in the Lord's Supper if he's up in heaven. And so what some people said is because he's up in heaven, he can't be down here on earth. And so they made a really big deal. I call it the Jesus jail. Like, oh, he ascended. Oops, sorry, he can't be locally present anymore. They would talk about, they would have a lot of caricatures like Jesus having a really long nose that touched earth. It was just ridiculousness. But our church fathers did a really good job in the 16th century, especially in this thing called the Formula of Concord in Article 7, of saying, no, he's at the right hand of God, which means he has taken unto himself that ability that God the Father has, which is to be in all places and yet also one place, both everywhere and specifically somewhere. And that's a teaching that helps us to take great comfort that when Christ says that he is here in the supper, he's really here.
And he's fully present.
Fully present.
Yeah,
not like half.
He's like part of all of the divine
or just spiritually present. Yeah, that's gross.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's Jesus, the full Jesus. Yeah.
Yep, the full Jesus. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's all of our questions. So we thought maybe what we could do is just update you on some things coming up, and there are a lot of things coming up because we're getting close to the end of the school year, and I guess you could say in some ways the end of the ministry year as we get ready for summer. So we just wanted to update you on some of the things that are happening, and I'll share some things, you share some things. Hopefully we won't forget stuff. But this weekend is a huge weekend.
It's huge.
Man alive.
I know.
So you've got a second pastoral candidate coming in this weekend.
Sam Reinhardt and his wife and his son. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yep. And they're from Illinois, correct?
They're from Illinois, from St. Andrew's Lutheran Church.
Yep. So our second candidate's coming in. So have a chance for the congregation to meet them, get to know them a little bit. I know they'll have a lot of interviews and stuff too. And Lord willing, soon we'll be guided in extending a call. The congregation will have an opportunity to do that. So that'd be exciting. Be really nice to get someone on board this summer, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be great.
Then you and I could just take off and go on vacation.
That's literally what I'm going to do.
As soon as they come, right? Okay, you're installed. See ya.
Yep. Peace.
What else do we have? Oh, this weekend, staff anniversary recognitions for milestone anniversaries.
Yep.
We have confirmation at the 11 o'clock service. And then after the 11 o'clock service, we're going to have a congregational lunch. We'll have a dedication of our courtyard shade structure or Faith Plaza shade structure. And then we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony for the new chapel and the memorial garden. So we hope you're going to be able to stick around and participate in that. That's going to be a very special thing. And then our voters meeting after that, because this is the time of the year when we approve the congregational budget and get a state of the ministry update. And so
the mission and ministry plan. Yeah, it's great.
So what are you going to do after we get through all that stuff Sunday afternoon?
I'm going to go with our candidate to youth group, and that'll be hilarious. And then Monday they'll fly out after meeting with our young adult ministry representative, and we'll just hit it again. But listen, Monday we have the 5th grade culmination here at church, and then on Tuesday we have the kindergarten culmination at the academy. So that's really exciting.
And on Monday, not only is the culmination service going to happen that evening, but the 5th graders are going to be coming here in the morning to practice for it, but also they're going to get a chance to learn a little bit more about the church ministries, meet the staff, learn about different ways that they can be involved in ministry here. And so that's going to be fun, hanging out with the 5th graders and just celebrating their milestone, but also just helping them to get to know us better and and what's going on here in this church home. So
Yeah, for
looking
sure.
forward to that too. Of course, we have VBS coming up.
We do.
Yep.
Oh, sign up for the afternoon session. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the morning's session.
full.
It's full. Yeah,
Morning's
yeah.
full. So we do have the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so that could still be a good possibility for you. 5:30 to 8:30?
5:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Yep. So you can still sign up for that. Or if you want to donate towards that, you can do that too. We've got the donation tree out in the lobby, or you can do it online. Great way to help support the ministry. Construction's coming up. So I talked about the groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So by the end of May, you should be seeing construction fences going up. And then June, after the first week of VBS, you'll start seeing a lot of work happening out in the center of the church property. And what we'll do is we'll guide you through this too, because there will be times where part of the entrance to the church will be closed off. And part of that reason is they need to access utilities under the pavers. But the other reason is we're going to actually take out those pavers and replace that with cement, because
Yay.
it's been a trip hazard, and
Yeah,
it's just
been a trip.
It's been a trip. So anyway, but we'll guide you through that whole process. There'll always be access to the ministries here, so we look forward to that. And then you're disappearing during VBS, aren't you? No, you're here the first week.
I'm not like going to the right hand of God,
Yeah.
but I am. I'm going
Yeah.
to in June, the whole month of June. I'll be teaching a preaching class, homiletics 2, advanced preaching, for the Cross Cultural Ministry Center at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis, Missouri. So I've been doing that for 14 years.
Yeah. Now, normally you do it at Concordia University Irvine, though, right?
Yeah. But they're having
So
us
this
do it in
time at the
St. Louis.
seminary.
Yeah.
So you get to enjoy the humidity.
I'm so
St.
excited.
Louis humidity in the summer.
Swimming
That's awesome.
in the air.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be wonderful.
Yep, that'll be good. Speaking of preaching, you've got
Oh, yeah.
somebody here coming to do a special workshop.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Okay. Craft of Preaching.
Yeah.
And we're going to put the link below in this video. Craft of Preaching, which is a 15-17 project, is doing a Craft of Preaching workshop. And the special guest is none other than David Schmidt, Dr. David Schmidt, which is the Greg H. Bennett Chair of Homiletics at Concordia Seminary.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that I'm just
good.
trying to be like David Schmidt. Like, he's incredible. He's an excellent preacher. You knew him. He came after at SEM for you, but you knew him as well.
But he was a pastor in the area before that.
He was, and in
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's going to be here. Listen, if you're not a preacher, but you want to see how preaching happens, how it's made, then come to the Craft of Preaching event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And will there be guys from all over the country?
All over the
coming for this?
country. Yeah, all over the country.
Which, that's one of the neat things that's been happening with this campus. And we had hoped when we designed this campus that this is what we could do, and that is be able to host different conferences. We had one just last week, the
PLI,
Pastoral
yeah.
Leadership Institute, and we've done other conferences as well. And it just seems like a really good destination for people. And it's been a real good experience I think for us too.
Oh, and I'm excited that David Schmidt's coming. I mean,
Yep.
seriously.
Yep, that'll be real good.
Wait, aren't you going to Greece?
I'm going to Greece.
He's going to
Yeah,
Greece. He's
so what
finally
happened
getting
was
the good food.
I was scheduled to lead another trip to the Holy Land in
Oh.
November.
Yeah.
And with, just the challenges going on there, it just seemed best to just cancel that.
Yeah.
So when I did that, then they asked, well, would you be willing to do Greece? And so I said, okay, let me put out some feelers. There seemed to be quite a bit of interest. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And so people are starting to sign up. We need to have a minimum of 20.
Oh.
So Lord willing, we'll see that happening here soon. And then we'll start meeting, just kind of preparing for what's going to come. And it'll be neat. We won't be able to walk in the footsteps of Jesus this time, but we can walk in the footsteps of St. Paul. And
As he follows
and,
Jesus. Yeah.
And then we can visit in Patmos.
Oh,
John,
nice.
where he wrote the book of Revelation. And
Nice.
so, yeah.
Prison
it'll
Island,
be
but
good.
great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they have a taco stand there.
We'll find out.
I'm just
if they do, I'll try
teasing.
one for you, okay?
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Send me
Yeah.
pictures.
Okay. Hey, just one more reminder, and that is next week is our final Pastors Roundtable for this season. We're already at the end of another season. So we take a break for the summer and give you guys a break from us. So then you'll be all ready to go on the fall again. But we've really enjoyed this year. It's been a lot of fun, and we look forward to starting it up again next fall.
With
But
a new
just
guy.
remember, with a new guy. Yes. Just remember, though, next week will be the last Pastors Roundtable. So you have one more chance to send in your questions. So we look forward to all those next week. Thanks, and God's blessings on your week.